everyone, and welcome to another episode or the second episode of Talking Like a Man's Men's Mental Health Podcast. We're here again, and we'll be talking about social media usage. Um, just a big shout out to some of the clubs that are taking part in the Movember Men's Mental Health campaign. You've got the football club, the rugby union club. You've got hockey, ice hockey, and American football. Well done, guys, and keep it going. We're seeing you, and we like what you're doing. Well done.
See, Josh looks like he's doing Movember as well.
I'm doing a
We're
pretty.
this for a long time. It's still not looking great.
Yeah, that's why I decided to skip it this year because I end up looking like a man you don't want to see in the streets. So I just decided, no, let's just keep it down this year.
I was invited to join in on the Movember campaign with the football team, and I literally ignored it because I have a beard already, and I didn't want to go that route. I looked like a child when I did it.
Yeah,
I know what
feel
you mean.
that. But it's good seeing all the different pictures that people have been posting, kind of across social media of their different Movember challenges. I don't know. Have you guys seen many?
Rates. Very different success rates
Definitely.
on some of those. Some of them end up looking like John Krasinski, and some of them end up looking like me. So, literally, I am very jealous of the people who can actually grow a full beard without having to worry about the police chasing them.
That's a good one, Hristo.
So, social media.
Yeah, we should probably get into that, shouldn't we? That's kind of the topic of the episode.
Yeah.
So, I think the most important thing when talking about social media is to say that literally everyone's on it in some way, shape, or form, even though not all of us, even, which is strange. We'll get into that a little bit later. Not all of us are on all social media. We all have a social media presence in a way. So, as I mentioned, not all of us are on it. So, I think we should take the rabbit out the hat and just say, Josh, what's going on?
I just
Please.
don't see the need of, like, I had an Instagram before. I do have a Facebook that's active every once in a while.
Yeah, occasionally
I
you have a
that.
Facebook.
Yeah, and that's only because, like, there's certain people that I want to in contact with that I've worked with before, or friends from school or wherever, that I still want to be able to check in. But I don't like checking it. I don't like the constantly being sold, like all the advertising. I just don't know. It's just too much.
See, Josh is the type of person who actually considered going back to a BlackBerry.
If I could work out a way to get my podcasts, I've been Googling for MP3s that will auto download Android MP3s. If I could go back, because all I actually need from my phone is WhatsApp. I can get WhatsApp on a BlackBerry.
You can.
It seems so much easier to not have all of that stress. Why would you want to be able to be contacted via Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, all of these different things at all times?
The short answer to that question is because everyone can be contacted through them. The long answer is probably a little more complex. Taking off the spotlight of the man of tradition and not innovation, and going to the other side of the spectrum, Sam, you have a very, very prominent social media presence. Tell us how it feels to be the face of an institution.
Well, answering to Josh's question of why he feels that people should have all these social media accounts and social media platforms. I feel as social beings, we are social beings, so we like to socialize, and we don't like thinking that we're missing out on anything. So we want to get on as much things as possible. You see your friend, oh, he's talking about something that has been posted on Twitter, and you don't have a Twitter account, but you want to see it. You're interested in it because everyone is interested in it. I feel because we're social beings, we always like to interact, and never miss out. I can see Josh is dying to say something. So I know he has different opinions, but yeah, I do love the fact that we can reach out to each other via social media. Sometimes it can be negative because you've got people who use the opportunity to inflict negative stuff on each other, knowing that they affect us in some way or form. But yeah,
But so just on that, like, do you think, and either of you, do you think that the portrayal that people put across on social media is in any way realistic?
we all understand, or let's put it this way: it's not always the truth. What people put out is not always the truth. People try to cover up their real self because they are trying to look like someone else, or be a certain image that that the society or social world or the norms have produced.
But then, so if we're being, if we want it because we're social beings, but what we're portraying is not a real portrayal, is that actually, like, you say that people want it because it's being sociable, but it's not being sociable if we're all just putting out fake best views of ourselves. Nobody's there saying I had a really bad day today, are they? That's not the honest answer. Like, that's not an honest portrayal. So why would I want to see everyone's made up versions of themselves? That's never going to make me feel happy.
See, that's the actual question. If you're interacting with a version, and honestly not the real version of someone online, are you actually interacting with them? Because it's easy to say, oh, this person, he's done this and that because he's posted it on the internet. But then again, I think we mentioned that last time, and if we didn't, it's our bad. uh, People don't really post their downfalls. Like, they don't really post when they fail at something. If anything, they only post about when they succeed at something, which is okay. Like, you're not supposed to use the internet as your personal diary and say, "Oh, I failed today. I had a bad day." But then again, if you're only picking and selecting the days in which you actually accomplish something, well, yeah, that's not really an actual representation of how life goes. So I really do get Josh's point about the inauthenticity of the whole platform, and that it creates uh, a divide, if anything.
Yeah, and then if you see, like, so I've recently discovered that lots of people have multiple accounts. So there's a private account and a public account for their peer groups. Like, and surely if you're wanting to show you, like, I just don't understand why you'd be a slightly different person that only some people can see. Like, in my mind, if I was to have an Instagram, here it is. Look at this pretty picture of a, I don't know, sheep or whatever, like, look at this, this is a nice picture that I've taken. Then why would I cut it down to, oh no, only some of my friends can see that? Because it just, you're starting to split yourself into so many different personalities, and I don't know, it just makes it too complex for me. I'd rather just stay away.
I definitely understand Josh's point of view. I feel like Josh, you're the kind of person who likes a simple life. No need to complicate things.
Yes.
And you feel that the way people go about duplicating their personalities on social media, it is complicating. Uh, like you mean you're saying that people are complicating things, which sometimes can have like a valid reason, especially when it has to do like work and personal life. That could be a good excuse because you can have like a work standardized a way of behavior, a way of something, some sort of behavior you put out at work, and then you've got a personal social media platform that puts out your own personality, what you love, your passion.
But so, like, actually, so overall, with the both of you, have you, how do you feel that you use social media. So, and have you ever tried to have a detox or cut down? Do you think your usage is normal? Is too much?
See, I got on it. I got on it pretty early. I think I was 11 when I first set up my Facebook account. I used my first email, which was no one I would want to be using now. So ever since then, I've had I've had periods during which I've gone off it like completely. I kind of do this like annual thing where I just get really really sad and get off social media completely, like actually disappear. And people will say, "Oh, I haven't seen you post in a while." And yes, that's very deliberate that I haven't posted. I usually do quite well with those in terms of I don't really miss it. Like it's not like a constant thing. Oh, I'm missing out. Oh, what about this post? I need to like and comment and stuff like that. But as soon as you talk to people who are still on it, and by that I mean every single person in the world, you you actually begin to realize that you're actually not seeing stuff that they're seeing. So I've been a part of multiple conversation while on my detoxes, and the conversation has been like, "Oh, did you see that this happened in that place the other day?" I was like, "No." "Oh man, you should have seen it. It was so cool." I was like, "Oh yeah, but it didn't." So can't really give you my 2 cents on it. Uh, Sam, when did you first join social media?
I think I joined at the age of 14. Obviously, like you, was the email, the Yahoo email. Um, I used to text my mates on via email, writing them an email, obviously, and it was fun then. Then we moved over to something called To Go. It was a Nigerian thing. I don't know if you guys ever experienced it.
No.
It was like a it was like a BBM thing, a BlackBerry Messenger thing,
Okay.
similar to it. But it was for those who couldn't afford like a BlackBerry because at that point it was expensive. Um, yeah, but it's been a journey going from that to Instagram and the rest of that. I've been very on it with regards to social media, but in the past year, I don't think I've taken a detox up to 2 times, and I know I need a detox. And yeah, it does cry for a detox. And we detoxes are very necessary because it helps you like reset your system and helps you just kind of take some time off and
Yeah.
reassess
Recalibrate.
reassess things. Yeah.
Yeah. See, Josh, I remember you telling me a story one time that you were one of the people who were a part of like the actual progression of social media, but because you have a more experienced internet presence than me and Sam do, you've been on most social media sites, haven't you?
My first was MySpace. I used to love
There we go. That's
MySpace.
that's
That
what
was
I mean.
so good. Yeah, yeah. But even that, like that, and to be fair, maybe that's why I've got more of an opinion on it because with MySpace, you literally put your top friends in. Like that would cause arguments in school. Like there was issues, and you could see who was gossiping and who was falling out because somebody would suddenly be like no longer in the top five, or they'd moved down a spot. Like it was you could see the cause and effect directly. So maybe that is a reason why I'm so against it. I think it's the lack of authenticity that I feel with it often. I see a lot of whenever I was on it, I would see people like doing charity stuff and recording themselves giving money to somebody or buying them food. And I find that really difficult because actually, if you're going to do that, then you shouldn't need the world to know you're doing that. Like in my mind, it takes away the kindness and the goodness of it if you have to show everyone, look, I'm doing a good thing. Like do you, I don't know. I do find it difficult. But so we just quickly because we briefly touched on it there, and I wanted to ask you both. Hristo, are you currently doing a detox for one? And Sam, would you look to do one to see if you could cut down either by just removing the apps from your phone so you use it less, or completely deactivating? And how do you think it would affect you?
So I haven't done one this year yet, and it's not because I haven't been sad enough this year. It's because I didn't think to do it when I was sad enough. Um, I think I have to do it just because it's like a tradition, and who doesn't like those? In terms of me being able to um, withhold myself from doing it, I don't think I would need to delete the apps. Like I think I'm good enough to say, oh, I won't go on it, and if I say I won't go on it, I won't go on it. So usually I don't like deactivate my account and do those edgy things like, oh, I'm going off this app, I'm not going to speak to you anymore. I just don't go on it. And if I were to do it now, I'd do it like that, just because I don't want to alarm people. Like I'm not dying. I'm just taking a break. So if I decide on doing it, I'll definitely let you know and complain about not having seen the latest post on Complex.
Just quickly, so do you think that you feel bad so you detox, or do you detox because you feel bad? Do you know? Like,
See, that's the deep psychological analysis that people sign up for when they listen to this. Uh, and as with most psychological things, it's literally a mixture of both. I think Um, I think it's like a weird mixture of both, because when you when you feel sad, you feel sadder on social media, but when you don't feel sad, social media makes you feel sad, if you know what I mean. So it's one of them when the two things combine to make one big thing, and they're both codependent and correlate significantly.
okay, yeah, yeah. Sam, what do you think?
I'll first answer you. I'll answer your first questions, which was I would do a detox, and I know that once I do a detox, all of a sudden a lot of time gets thrown at you. All of a sudden you have this much time, and you don't know. You need to decide where you want to spend that time or what you want to spend that time on. With regards to detoxing, I'll definitely delete the app because I can't do well with staying away from the app when I'm seeing the app on my phone. Uh, totally delete the app. And to your second question, I feel that when we feel bad, and it's because of maybe something, when we feel bad and then we detox, it's usually maybe a cause coming from the app, something that happened on the app while you were using the app, or something that is going on in your life through the app. Either ways, the app affects you and then you detox. But when you, as human beings, sometimes we tend to let it get too far before we seek help or we detox or we go about these help measures. We allow ourselves to get drawn into so many things, and then we said, oh, this is becoming difficult. Now I have to detox.
So, do you think, right? Okay, another question, and I'm just going to keep going with them. So many different social medias. So, which do you think there's one that's worse than others? Because obviously, like even off the top of your head, how many do you have, and do you think there's one that's worse than others? Obviously, we've got Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, so many different options of. Do you think they're all equal, or some are worse than others?
See, they're all really, really bad, and they're all bad for like a specific reason. I feel like Instagram, which is probably the most popular one right now, and it's the one people use the most on a daily basis. I think that's bad because it only showcases the so-called highlights and the good stuff. I think the one I use the most, it's definitely Twitter. I think that one's bad because it's literally the most negative thing in the world. Like if you wanna read someone's bad opinions and bad takes on others' bad opinions, you go to Twitter. Um, I feel like LinkedIn, as much praise as it gets, and I really like that phrase for LinkedIn, so I will use it again. It's glorified Facebook. Like people just say, "Oh, I am 23 and I have 7 cars, 6 jobs. I sleep 2 hours a day. I read 3 books an hour, and I have 7 girlfriends." And then you go on LinkedIn and you're like, "Ah, I'm I'm 23. I barely have a job. I just finished a degree, but this guy, he's already done 7 degrees. How am I so far behind? Like, what have I done wrong?" So, I'm not a big fan of LinkedIn. I know it's useful. It's just it's not for me, and I know it's not for Josh either because we've had this talk before. Sam, which one do you use the most?
I definitely use Instagram the most. I would say that all of them have their own negative sides, like history, as mentioned. One thing I would say is, for so long in on social media, we've seen situations where people have big followings on the social media accounts. We tend to take them as the gods, the people that know, the intellectuals. They know best because they have followings. And then when they say things, most of us listen to them, and all of a sudden, when you're not meeting up to that standard, or when you're not hitting the height, you start to put pressure on yourself. You start to feel pressured. They do affect us in every single way, whether it's by the pictures that we see on Instagram, or the tweets that we see on Twitter, or some of the big works that big corporations are doing on LinkedIn, and then they're posting. Either ways, we see them on Snapchat. You still see, it's difficult to run away from these things that that make us vulnerable. It's difficult to run away from these these information out there, or these things that are out there that really bring us down, or make us feel vulnerable, make us feel less of who we are, or
Yeah.
our authentic self.
I think we kind of glossed over 2 big ones. We kind of glossed over Facebook, but that's for old people.
Yeah.
And the other big omission that we made was Snapchat, but that's so 2015 that it's so ancient. Speaking of how bad social media is, Josh has an incredible announcement.
Yes, yes. So we, after all of this talking about social media, there are obviously some good points. So we do now have Talk It Like a Man on Instagram and on Twitter. So if you have a look and check it out, I am going to be learning the ropes and posting. So we'll see how that goes.
We've
So
corrupted another disciple.
yeah, while these two try and detox from their social media, I'll be back in
Intoxing.
there intoxing. Yeah. So if you've got any thoughts, any suggestions, any discussion topics you want us to talk about, next week we're going to be looking at the stigma and difficulties getting help. And yeah, so Talk It Like a Man on Twitter and Instagram, and we can continue the conversation there. And yeah, thank you.